Hello, very good morning. Hello, are you able to hear me? Okay. Okay. Uh, Let me mute. Okay. So whatever we discussed so far are nothing but like basics of your manual testing. Okay. So comes under basics of your manual testing. So whatever we are going to discuss, those are like advanced topics and comes under like test management. Okay, so if you are having like 2 or 3 years of experience, these topics not required. 4 or 5 or 6 years, if you are senior gaming, what are the topics we are going to discuss, that one required. And meanwhile, it's not that much difficult, it's very easy. These all are process oriented. Okay, so we'll try to see like what is test management, where it comes exactly, how it will be helpful in our uh, testing related process. Okay, so in test management, you will come across four different documents. Okay, so those are nothing but like test policy, test strategy, test methodology, and test plan. These are the four different documents you'll come across, four different steps you'll come across. So before that, any of the company, let us suppose you're trying to frame. So by putting some objectives and some goals, you'll try to come up with some company, right? So you should be having some objects, some milestones. So by this time, by 2 or 3 years or 5 years time span, you should be in such a position like that. You should be having some timelines, some goals, some objectives. So with the intention that one only, you try to come up with company. Okay, within a company, if you take, there may be so many departments. Okay, so many platforms like testing, development, uh, security, finance. Like there's so many departments, so many platforms. Okay, so each and every platform with a specific purpose. So testing department they come up with. There should be some specific purpose, right? So that is nothing but like testing. So what is the purpose of testing department is like whatever the project you are working, that project you have to deliver quality application to the customers, right? So you're working for a specific company, means you're working with some project. Whatever the project you're working, that project you have to deliver. You have to deliver quality application to the client. You have to deliver quality application to the client means you have to test that application properly, right? You have to test means what is the process you have to follow. What are the different steps? What is the organization strategy? So each and everything it will get different. So that is nothing but like test strategy, test management portion. So under test management portion, these are the different things you will come across. Okay, so uh, and so under test management, you will come across test policy, test strategy, test methodology, and test plan. These are the four different documents you will come across. So test policy, what exactly it will define is like what are the objectives and goals of your testing department gets defined here in your test policy. Okay, so test policy is organizational level document, and here who will come up with test policy is quality analyst. Quality analyst come up with this document. Okay, so quality analysts come up with test policy, and this is organizational level. That means organizational level document means, what does it mean? Within that organization, which all are the projects available. So each and every project should follow this policy, right? So that is nothing but like test policy. Test policy again consists of four different steps. Those are nothing but testing definition, testing standards, testing process, and testing metrics. These are the four different steps it will be having. Okay, so testing definition, testing standards, testing process, and testing metrics. We go one by one. Testing definition, our first class. Okay, so testing definition, how you can define? Verification plus validation. Right? Also you can define it as quality assurance plus quality control. So this is nothing but like your testing definition. I hope I don't want to come up again. If you need to, you can go to the recorded session. Okay, so then testing standards. Within your IT company there are so many standards, right? Like CMM level implementation, ISO certified company, Six Sigma, Fortune 500, like that. So many levels are there. Okay, so each CMM level company they get certified means what does it mean? You should follow some standards, right? According so CMM level 5 company, what are the standards supposed to follow? So all those one they need to follow. Then only it will get certified as a CMM level company. Okay, so those are nothing but like testing standards. Okay, so if what are those standards? If you take small scale organization, so it should not exceed more than one defect for 250 lines of code. LOC is nothing but like lines of code. Okay, so here any of the programming language, if you go for program you come up with. What do you mean by program? Set of instructions, right? So each and every instruction you will come up in the form of one line. Okay, so each and every line you can consider one line of code. Okay, okay, so that is nothing but like line of code. So one defect for 2500 lines of code if it is big scale organization like CMM level or that kind of company if it is. So one defect for 2500 lines of code, it should not exceed more than that. Okay, so these are the standards each and every company needs to be followed. Okay, okay, so that is nothing but like testing standard. It's very simple. If it is small scale organization, one defect for 2500 lines, sorry, one defect for 250 lines of code. If it is big scale organization, one defect for 2500 lines of code. Okay, then testing process. This is very very important. Even if you go for interview, it's very good interview question. Okay, so what is the testing process you are following in your company? So normally for any of the project, testing process gets initiated by your test manager or project manager by considering which types of tests you have to follow. Normally for any of the project, testing process gets initiated by your project manager or test manager. Okay, so while initiating he will try to consider which type of application it is. I could have told you long time back. Okay. So how many types of applications you will come across in your IT industry? There are four types. One tier application, two tier application, three tier application, four tier application. Okay. But in brief, you can say like client server applications and web-based applications. So there you'll come across very good into question how differently you will test web-based applications when compared to client server applications. Okay, so if it is client server application, you can go for like usability testing and functionality testing. If it is performance testing, first priority goes to security testing, then usability testing, then functionality testing. Finally, you can go for performance testing once your application gets stable. Okay, so uh, that means like your test manager initiates your testing process by considering which types of tests you have to perform for this application. Which types of tests you have to perform means again what is the type of application you have to consider, right? So what is the type of application? So depends on the type of the application. He will try to go for like which different types of testing you have to perform along with the different types of application. So are there any special considerations you have to consider? Special considerations means if it is web-based application, uh, see all web-based applications little bit different. Okay, when compared to like I can say like banking applications. So for banking applications, special considerations are there, right? So what are those one? You cannot click on back button. Okay, so you cannot take screenshot, you cannot right click, you cannot copy paste, session note warning. These are the different things, but these things are not applicable for other web-based applications. Okay, if there are like this, any special considerations are there, special assumptions. Okay, even by considering those one, they'll try to come up with like, so what are the different types of testing you have to perform for this application? Okay, so that is nothing but like testing initiation. So test initiation done by your project manager or test manager by considering which types of tests you have to perform. Then your test lead will come up with test plan. Test plan is nothing but like in order to deliver quality application, you should come up with test plan. So test plan normally come up with test lead. Okay, so our next topic is like test plan. At the time I will explain you in detail like what is the test plan. So as of now you can remember like your test lead will come up with test plan, then test design, then your role comes into picture. So as a test engineer, what is your job is you will be going through the requirement documents. Okay, you will be going through the requirement documents. So then you will be analyzing those requirements and will be coming up with creating test cases. So that is nothing but like test design. Test design, test engineers gets involved and they will be going through the requirement documents. They will try to analyze those requirement documents properly and come up with creating test cases. That is nothing but like test design. Okay, then once whole application test case is done, whatever the application you are working for, that application, okay, test case is finished. Okay, then you are ready to execute, right? So then onwards, whenever you are getting release, you may be aware of like what is release, right? There are two types of releases, so major release and minor release. So what is the release you are getting? So you will be ready to execute against that latest release. Okay, so that is nothing but like execution. So normally test execution, how it will happen is like, what are the project you are working for that project? How many people are working? How many test cases are there? Depends on that one. Each and everybody gets allocated some test cases. So whenever you get released, okay. So what are the test cases that assigned for you? All those test cases needs to be executed against latest release. Let us suppose for your application, 10,000 test cases are there. 20 people were working. So per head, how many test cases you will come across? 500. Okay. So what is your role is like, your job is, what are the test cases that are sent? All those test cases needs to be executed against that latest release. Okay. So 500 got assigned. So those test cases needs to be executed against latest release. So this is the process normally you will try to follow. This is nothing but like test execution. Okay. So that means like your regression testing you will be performing here. So while performing regression testing, if you find any mismatch, okay. So while performing regression testing, if you find any mismatch, means that means like expected value and the actual value, you can consider it as a bug and report it to developer, right? So that is nothing but like bug reporting. So while performing regression testing, if you find any mismatch, okay, that one you can consider as an error and you can report it to development team. How you can report? There is some process. So I could have told you yesterday, right? Bug reporting and tracking. Okay. So you can report. After that, okay. So that is nothing but like bug reporting. And so whatever the release you got, you will be testing. If you find any mismatches, you will be reporting it to developer. So development team will try to fix those bugs and make it as a new release to you. So again, you'll be performing your testing. So if you find any mismatch, you will report it to development team. So these two cycles will be repeatedly happening until whole application gets ready, right? Okay. So these two cycles will be repeatedly happening until whole application gets ready. Okay. So then you are ready to release it to the customer. So that is nothing but like test closing. So when you can close your testing process for any other project. So whenever your application met customer expected quality, at that point of time, you can close your testing. Okay. So when is the good time to start testing for a specific application? So whenever your application meets customer expected quality. Okay. So how can you say this application meet customer expected quality? So before starting the project, you would have got some requirements, right? So by covering that requirements, you could have come up with like test case design, right? So how many test cases you are having? Like 10,000 test cases. So before that, very important into question, is it possible to deliver 100% quality application? No, it's not possible. So why means before that, is it possible to like before that are the projects whatever you are having, all those are like stable applications, stable requirements. Any of the application you are working, is that application having stable requirements? No, right? So most of the projects having client requirements are frequently changing. So this what are the criteria working? This project for today it is quality, but tomorrow client requirements themselves are getting changed. Like today your requirement is like mechanical, then tomorrow SMS, after a few days MMS. After few days, 2G. After few days, 3G. Like that, client requirements themselves getting changed. So how can you say this is 100% quality application? So that's the reason. So if 98% of the test cases are getting passed, what are the test case you today you are having? So 95 to 98% of the test cases got passed. Along with that one, 95 to 98% of the bugs fixed. Okay, 98% of the bugs fixed. And remaining 2 to 5% also, if you say like no high severity, no critical bugs, or no high severity test cases left. Okay, so at that point of time, you can consider it as a quality application and release it to customer. So at that time, you can close your testing and release it to customer. That is nothing but like test closer. So whenever your application meets customer expected quality, means 98% of the bugs fixed, 98% of the test cases got executed fine are passing. Okay, so at that point of time, you can consider it as a quality application and can release it to the customer. Okay, and can release it to the customer. Okay, so this is what we need to look for. So this is nothing but a test closer. So very important in the question. It's not that much difficult. Testing process gets initiated by your test manager by considering which types of tests you have to perform for this application. Okay, then your tester will come up with test plan. Then as a test engineer, you'll be analyzing the requirements and coming up with creating the test cases. So once test case design done, then almost whenever you get released, you'll be able to execute what are the test case set, whatever the test case you are having against the latest release. While executing, if you find any mismatch, you can report it to developer. He will try to fix, send back to you. So these two cycles will be repeatedly happening until whole application gets ready. So at the end of the project, okay, so you are at the end of days of period. So at that point of time, your test manager or type manager try to look for like whether your application met customer sort of quality or not. So he will try to do some analysis kind of stuff, some estimation kind of stuff. So if your application met customer expected quality, then your application is ready to release to the customer. Okay, so this is nothing but this is the process for most of the projects people try to find. Okay, so this is the process you try to. Okay, okay, so this is nothing but like your testing process. Okay, then we can go for like testing metrics. What is metric? Metric is nothing but like measurement. How do you measure milk? Like liters, right? Exactly. How do you measure testing quality? So testing quality you can measure with the help of like different types of testing metrics. I was saying, right? So in testing policy, before releasing it to the customer, okay, you have to do some estimation kind of stuff, whether your application met customer to quality or not. That one, how you can estimate with the help of testing metrics. Okay, so testing metric is nothing but like measurement. How do you measure quality is like with the help of metrics. Metrics are nothing but like numbers, you can say simply. There are three types of metrics you will come across in your testing industry. So those are nothing but like test management metrics, quality assessment metrics, and process capability metrics. These are the three types of metrics you will come across. So test management metrics, quality assessment metrics, and process capability metrics. Okay, we go one by one. Under test management metrics, these metrics are nothing but like testers level. Yeah, as a test engineer, what are the tasks you are performing related to those activities? Okay, so what are the activities you'll be performing? So daily, sorry, you will be analyzing the requirements, creating the test cases, executing the test cases, modifying the test cases, okay, and meanwhile reporting the bugs, tracking the bugs. These are all the different things you'll be performing as a tester, right? So how many test cases got created for today? How many test cases got executed? How many bugs died? How many bugs fixed? How many bugs closed? Like that, whatever the task you performed for today, all those tasks at the end of the day, you will be sending status to your team lead, right? So remember, for any of the project you are working means you have to send status to your team lead as a team member. So the status may be like weekly or daily. What are the process you are following? Weekly means you have to consolidate whole week report and send it to your team lead. Or daily means what are the tasks you performed for that day? You have to send it out to your team lead. Okay. So your team lead, what he will do is he will consolidate status of all the team members and send it to project manager. So what he will do is weekly and release by release he will be tracking. Okay, weekly or release by release he will be tracking. He will be sending to your team lead will be sending to your project manager. Okay, so that is nothing but like test management metrics. So how many test cases got created, how many bugs fixed, how many bugs closed, how many test cases got executed, how many test cases got passed, how many test cases got failed. These kind of numbers you'll be tracking and sending it to your manager. So those one you can consider as test management metrics. Okay, so these are purely testers level. So like numbers. So what are the tasks you are performing? Those one you will be managing. So those are nothing but like test management metrics. Then you will be coming up with like quality assessment metrics. So test management metric, you will be your team lead will be sending it to project manager, right? So at the end of the project, so you are at the ending days of 3 years, let us suppose. So at the end of the project, okay, so your project manager take all reports release by release and he will try to consolidate like whether your application met customer expected quality or not. Okay, so if your application met customer expected quality, that means how he have to consolidate, he will try to get all the reports from different releases, which are the releases you had for that project, and he will try to estimate. So how many test cases got executed, how many test cases got passed, how many test cases got failed. So means like total how many test cases, like 10,000 test cases. So 97% of the test cases are getting passed. And how many bugs raised? So all those bugs, whether they fixed or not, like 98% of the bugs fixed. Okay, so if 95 to 98% of the bugs fixed and 95 to 97% of the test case got executed, and remaining 2 to 5% also, those test cases also like should not contain high severity bugs or high critical bugs. At that point of time, you can release it to the customer. So these are nothing but like quality assessment metrics. So these are project level. So to assess whether your application met customer expected quality or not. So these are nothing but like quality assessment metrics. Okay. So your project manager gets involved. So these metrics are like project level. So this one, when it will perform, is like your by your project manager is like at the end of the project phase. Okay, at the end of the project phase before releasing it to the customer. Okay, so this is nothing but like quality assessment metrics. Then finally you will come across process capability metrics. Simply I have to say means these are purely experience based. These are purely experience based, means like first time you got assigned project, so for getting to that project and getting clear picture, so how much time it will take? Minimum 6 months or 1 year it will take. Okay, so one project you successfully delivered. So for getting into second project and getting into picture means how much time it will take? It doesn't take much time, right? So how much time you have taken for first project? Okay, that much time it may not take for your second project, right? So that is nothing but like third project. Time definitely gets reduced. Fourth project or fifth project. So time will be tremendously reducing, right? So these are nothing but like process capability metrics. So these are nothing but like purely experience based. Okay. So these are nothing but like process capability metrics. That means very simply I have to say means okay, first time you got some issue while working with specific project. First time you got some issue. So you have to find out root cause and you have to resolve means it will take too much time. Second time the time will definitely get reduced. Third time definitely gets reduced. So 20th time what you can do, before producing the error you can take precautions, you can prevent. Right? So so process capability metrics are nothing but like monitoring old project failures and taking precautions in those areas for coming up with projects or releases. Okay, for coming up with projects or releases are nothing but like process capability metrics. Okay, so monitoring old project failures and taking precautions in those areas for coming up with projects and releases are nothing but like if you are working for single project, so you'll get into picture like releases. If you are working for multiple projects, so multiple projects, it will be applicable. So this is nothing but like your test policy. So test policy, you will come across four different documents. So test policy, test strategy, test methodology, and sorry. So under test management, test policy, test strategy, test methodology, test plan you will come across. So test policy, if you take four different steps, you'll come across testing definition, testing process, testing standards, and testing measurements. Okay, so that is nothing but like test policy means what are the goals, what are the objectives of your testing department gets defined in test policy. What are the goals? Okay, so what is your goal for joining the testing course? Your goal is you have to get the job, right? So that is what gets defined here in test policy. you have to get job. What you have to do? You have to follow some steps, right? You have to follow some steps. Those steps gets defined here in test strategy. Okay, so what are the objectives got defined to achieve those objectives? What are the standards? What are the process you have to follow? What are the different steps you have to follow? Those one gets defined here in test strategy. Okay, those one gets defined here in your test strategy. Okay, so these are nothing but like company level again. So this document come up by quality control people. So here in test strategy, what exactly it will contain is like how to achieve the objectives and goals defined here in test policy. So for achieving those one defined here in test strategy. So what are the steps to achieve the objectives and goals defined here in test policy? Okay, that's what gets defined here in test strategy. Okay. So this test strategy again organizational level document. That means within your organization, which all are the projects are there, each and every project should follow. Okay, should follow this test strategy. Again, in test strategy, you will come across so many steps, around 15 steps. You don't bother about these steps. Okay, you have to remember, means it's a little bit difficult, but overall idea you try to understand. Okay, so all these steps, if you remember, it is better, or if you don't remember, you can leave it up, no issues. Okay, but what is the purpose, what is the concept, that one you should be aware of. Okay, scope and objective, business issues. Okay, testing approach, testing environment. So uh, a testing matrix, testing communication, defect communication. So communication and status reporting. So then you'll come up with like bug reporting and tracking, test automation. So automation tools, then change and configuration management, test environment. So test plan finally, and one more you will come across, risk and mitigation. So these all are the different steps you will come across in your test strategy. We go one by one. Scope and objective. So what is the scope of application? So each and every scope, what exactly you will try to test, which type of testing you will be performing, and what is the objective. So that is what gets defined here in scope and objective. Okay, so scope and objective is nothing but like in your application, so which are the different features, which are the different items you are getting it up. Okay, so each and every feature, how exactly you will be testing. Okay, so what is the purpose of testing that application? So you're testing specific feature, a specific application means, so you should be having some objective, right? So what is the objective? So that is what gets defined here in scope and objective. That is what gets defined here in scope and objective. Okay, then business issues. Before going to business issues, so what is development to testing ratio? For most of the applications, standard is like 7 developers, 3 testers, right? So that means like whatever the budget you got from client, so 70% goes to development, 30% goes to testing. So like that it will consider, like that they will consider. So that is nothing but like business issues. So under business issues, only higher management people gets present and try to test. Okay, so these are nothing but like business issues. So business issues are nothing but like how much percentage of budget goes to development, how much percentage goes to testing. That's what gets written. Okay, testing approach. Testing approach is nothing but like uh, for testing specific functionality, specific features. So what is the approach you will try to follow? Best example, in order to test for usability testing. What is usability testing? Whether your application providing user-friendly interface or not. That is what you have to perform is you have to go for like easy to use, authorization, access control, like that. So usability testing you have to perform. So there easy to use you have to perform is whether they are following Microsoft 6 rules or not. That is what we will take to test, right? So that is nothing but like testing approach. So for any of the feature, any of the functionality you have to test means you should follow some approach, right? So what is the approach you have to follow for testing this function? That kind of approach gets defined here in testing approach. That's kind of stuff gets defined here in testing approach. Then test environment. In order to start our testing, what are the prerequisites? What are the prerequisites? Your computer needs to be configured with latest application. So database needs to be installed. So unnecessary configuration also needs to be performed. Then, and one more important thing is you should be perfect in application domain, and you should have all manual test case suite. That means like test cases. Then only you can start up with your testing, right? So otherwise, how can you go ahead with your testing activities? So that is nothing but like test environment or test bed. That means in order to start our testing, what are the prerequisites? What are the prerequisites required? Okay. So that is nothing but like test environment or test bed. Okay. So that is nothing but like test environment or test bed. So it means what are the different things required in order to start our testing for a specific application. So that is what gets defined here in test environment. Okay, then you can go for like test automation. So while starting with automation, at the time I will explain in detail like what is the test automation exactly. Okay, but as of now you can try to remember like okay, you try to remember. So uh, in order to go for like testing automation for a specific application, you should follow some steps, right? What is the approach, what are the standards? Okay, so in order to go for testing, what are the prerequisites? So what is the criteria? So that's what gets defined here in test automation. Okay, in detail I will explain you like while starting with your automation. Okay, so test metrics. So again you'll come up with like process capability metrics, test management metrics, and quality assessment metrics. Those one will get it up here. Roles and responsibilities. Who will do what? Okay, that is what your project manager, okay, so gets assigned. So he is the boss for your project manager. So he is having like he will be analyzing like how many resources required. So means like how many developers required, how many testers required. He will try to recruit. Once he recruit each and every independent employee, he will try to assign roles and responsibilities. Right? What exactly each and every employee will be performing. Each and every resource will be performing their daily activities. Okay. So that is what your project manager will take it. So that is nothing but like roles and responsibilities. Roles and responsibilities. Okay. Then defect tracking. Okay. Defect tracking. Okay. So defect tracking is nothing but like I could have told you like during bug reporting and tracking, severity and priority you will come up. So for severity or priority, you can go for like high, medium, low, or major, minor, critical. Okay. So which terminology you are going to use for this application? So that is what gets defined here in defect tracking. Okay. So which terminology you're going to use for a specific application, that is what gets defined here in defect tracking. Okay, then communication and status reporting. So what are the priority you are working? You'll be facing issues, right? So what are the issue you are facing? First, you yourself try to resolve. If you are not resolving, you'll go to your colleague. They're also not resolving means what you can do? You can go to one level upper like software engineer. They're also not resolving means senior software engineer. Then team lead, then project manager. So that is nothing but like communication. So whenever you are facing issues or for performing your daily activities, so what is the communication process you would like to follow? Meanwhile, okay, as a team member, you will report it to your tribe, your team lead. Your team lead consolidate status from all the team members and report it to project manager, right? So that is nothing but like communication and status reporting. That is nothing but communication and status reporting. Okay. Okay, so that is nothing but like communication and status reporting. So while performing your daily activities, to who you upload. Okay, so that is one thing. And communication reporting, status reporting. So what are the tasks you perform for today? That task you will report to your project manager, your team lead. Your team lead will consolidate from all the team members and send it to project manager. Okay. Okay, then we can go for like risk and mitigation. So what are the priority you are working? You may be coming across like so many issues daily. You may be facing so many issues. Okay, so those issues. Okay, so there are two types of issues: known issues and unknown issues. Okay, known issues and unknown issues. Okay, known issues. Known issues means you want to do performance testing. So for performance testing, 10,000 members or 20,000 members, that one you have to go for like manual testing. It's very difficult, right? So what is the resolution? Risk is nothing but like issue. Mitigation is nothing but resolution. Okay, so risk is nothing but like issue, mitigation is nothing but resolution. Okay, so there are two types of issues like known issues and unknown issues. If it is performance testing, you cannot do for manual testing. So at that point of time, you can go for automation testing like performance tools. Okay, unknown issues. Okay, suddenly some people put sick leave or may resign or your server may go crash. Okay, so can you expect like when your server go crash or when your application, when your system go crash, can you expect? So these are nothing but like unknown issues. These are nothing but like your unknown issues, right? So what is the resolution? So till it gets resolved, you have to wait. Okay, so these are nothing but like unknown issues. So what are the priority you are working? There are two types of issues: known issues and unknown issues. So mitigation is nothing but like resolution. So that is what clearly gets taken here in risk and mitigation. Change and configuration management. So that one I will explain you in detail like in your automation front. What are the tasks you are performing? What are the tasks you are working? For that project, change and configuration management portion plays major role. Okay, so in automation front interaction portion, I will explain in detail like what is the purpose of like change and configuration management and what are the tools you'll be going to use for change and configuration management. Okay, so then automation and testing tools. Earlier also you got one point like test automation. There, what is the criteria in order to go for testing gets defined. Okay, you decided to go for automation. So which are the different tools you will be using? Like even this one also I will explain you like during automation. Friend, there are three types of tools you will come across: functionality testing tools, performance testing tools, and test management tools. Okay, so there I will explain it in detail. So what exactly what tool you will come across? As of now, you can remember this is the step. Then Finally you will come across like test plan, sorry, training plan. Okay, finally you will come across training plan. Okay, so any other project, so training needs to be performed, right? There are two types of training: internal training and external training. Internal training means okay, internal training means within your project, within your organization, so who all are having very good experience, those people may provide training. So that is nothing but like internal training. So external training means your client people may provide training. So clients may visit your location and may provide training, or through online conferences, so through web meetings also they may provide training. So these are the two types of trainings you'll come across for any of the project. Okay, as I said, all these steps, if you remember, that is better. Even if you don't remember, it's not that much important. But if you are senior position, okay, so this one will be little bit important. I have unmuted. Anybody having any questions? Any questions? Yes, sir. Tell me. Okay. That one I will tell you. Okay. So you installed it. Initially, you can use few days, like 2 weeks of time. How you can make a license, I will tell you. Okay. Okay. Right now, 14 days you can use it up. You can skip that license portion. Okay. Fine. Any more questions? No questions? Okay. Thank you.